Hello everybody, in this video we are going to continue the conversation about using the substitution method to solve a system of equations. Now in the previous videos we talked about what substitution method looks like, what you need to look for, how to set it up, and then how to do it. We also talked about special solutions. What does it look like when you're using the substitution method and it's a no solution or infinitely many solutions? And then how do we go about that? But in this video we're going to focus on how can we take a word problem and how can we write our equation and then use the substitution method to solve it, find the solution, and then be able to interpret the solution in context to our problem. So let's look at the one that we have on our screen. This is the only one we're going to work. And it says Theo buys a slice of pizza and a bottle of water for $3. Ralph buys 3 slices of pizzas and 2 bottles of water for $8. And then they're asking us, how much does a slice, one slice of pizza cost? Determine the variables, set up the system, find the solution, and interpret the answer in context to the problem. So these are the things that we're going to do here. So the first thing is to determine the variables. They are not telling us what to use. So if you go back and read it, it's not telling us use this variable to represent this. So I'm going to always default back to X and Y because that's what I'm comfortable with. So for this one, we're talking about 2 things. You can buy 2 things. You can buy pizza and a bottle of water. Doesn't matter which one you choose, but since they said pizza first, let's go ahead and use that as X. Now we're determining the price. So that we're going to put for number X, for variable X, the cost of a slice of pizza. Okay, so we're trying, X represents how much each slice of pizza costs. And so Y is going to represent how much the cost of a water bottle. So cost of water. Okay, so we're trying to figure out prices here. So in order for us to be able to set it up, we're talking about 2 different purchases. We have Theo who purchased 1 slice of pizza and 1 bottle of water, and it cost him $3. So when we get ready to set this up, I'm going to go ahead and use my placeholder ones. 1 pizza slice, 1 bottle of water, and he paid $3 for it. So this is what my first equation is going to look like. Number 2. Ralph also buys some pizza and some water, but he's buying 3 slices of pizza. So 3 times X. 2 bottles of water, so 2Y, and it costs him $8. So now we have our 2 equations here. Now we have to determine which one of these equations are we going to solve for either X or Y. Now, if you look at the second equation with the 3 and the 2, we're definitely not solving that one for anything. Because I've always said you want to find the one that has a variable that is positive and by itself. Now, even though I added the ones here, we know the ones are understood. So we can either solve for X or we can solve for Y. It actually does not matter. So if it's okay with y'all, we're going to go ahead and solve this one for X. So I'm actually going to write this equation a little bit below so we can actually solve it. So I'm going to say 1x plus 1y is equal to 3. And because we're solving for X, I'm going to circle it to remind you we're solving for X. Let's subtract 1y from both sides. Carry the y with it. So we have X is equal to 3 minus 1y. This is what X is equal to. So that tells me I'm going to take the value of X, what X is equal to, and I'm going to plug it into the other equation. We solved the first one, so we're going to plug it into the second one. So I'm going to put parentheses here. We can also color code this so you know that we're going to replace this X with what X is equal to. Now I'm going to do that work over here. And so let's go ahead and set it up. So we're going to say 3 times x is equal to 3 minus 1y plus 2y is equal to 8. So by plugging in and replacing and substituting the x in the second equation, we no longer have x's, nothing but y's. So that means we're going to solve for y. So if you look at your equation, and at some point maybe you realize that there are x's and y's, then we did something wrong. Because when you substitute, it's to get rid of that second variable, and we should have nothing but the same variable so we can solve. So let's go ahead and say 9 minus 3y, bring down the 2y is equal to 8. We can go ahead and combine these y's. They are not going to disappear. They're going to become negative 1. So negative 1y is equal to 8. So because they didn't disappear on us, because they didn't cancel each other out, that automatically tells us we're going to have a solution here. So let's keep on going. Let's subtract 9 from both sides. And we get negative 1y is equal to negative 1. Let's divide both sides by negative 1. And so that tells me y is equal to positive 1. All right, it's not enough for us just to know the y value. We also have to know the x value. So now that we know that y is equal to 1, let's go ahead and plug it in here in this equation. And it will automatically tell us what x is. All right, so I wrote mine right here. And so I just wrote this equation, replaced the y with what y is equal to, which is 1. And so we know negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. So we have x is equal to 3 minus 1. X is equal to 2. So now that I have my x value, now that I have my y value, we can write it as an ordered pair because it is a one solution. So 2 comes first, then the y. It doesn't matter which one you find first. It's still x comma y. Now, it's not enough. This is a word problem. We cannot leave it like this. Because what does the 2 represent? What does the 1 represent? They gave us a whole word problem here. So we're going to go back to our variables at the beginning. X represents the cost of the slice of pizza. So we're talking about $2 pizza. Pizza costs $2. And then that tells us that our bottle of water, because it says right here, is y. So our y value is 1, costs $1. Now I know they didn't ask us for both. The question said, how much does a slice of pizza cost? The slice of pizza is $2. But now you know that these two numbers here actually have meaning. So whatever you establish at the very beginning, whatever you decide x and y is, then you can go back to that part and say, oh, 2 is the cost of pizza, 1 is the cost of water. And then answer the question. All right, well, that's it. That is the only example that we have here. I hope that by reading through it, picking the variables, using the information from the problem to set up the equations, we then found the solution using the substitution method. And then from there, we're able to tie it back into the actual problem itself. I hope that this example has helped you feel a little bit better about this. And I'll see you guys in the next videos.